Recording. Yeah. Good day, good morning, and good evening again to this week's session on the Move to Cloud webinar series. Today, we're going to talk about selective data transition beyond Cloud ERP, how to deal with other SAP solution, and the focus would be on EWM. As usual, if you have questions, put it into the Q&A box. And with that, I would hand it over to Reik.
Yes, thank you very much, Krena. And let me share my screen. Wait a second. Yeah, and with this, I would like to welcome everybody. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to today's Selective Data Transition Engagement Partner Community webinar. It's a pleasure for us to welcome you today to another very interesting session of our webinar series around the SDT Selective Data Transition. Today we will go into a special topic. As we did last time, we looked on HCM. Today we will look on the EWM transition to the Intelligent Enterprise. We will dive into the unique challenges, opportunities that are associated with the EWM data transition. And we will be sharing what are the typical challenges, best practices, and some real-life scenarios and cases. I'm Reik Boettner. I'll be your host for today's session. And yeah, we have also prepared some really great colleagues today, our content experts. We have Christian Beiling from SAP, our principal EWM migration expert. And we have Tichy, our technical SAP project lead from Natuvion. And both will say hello in a minute personally. Yeah, together with this panel, I will guide you through some of our key points. Let's have a look what we have prepared. So first, we will briefly go into what is EWM, what are your typical scenarios, and why should you move now? Then we will go into what is actually the difference between warehouse management, stockroom management versus EWM. And then in the third part, we will get into the actual transition SDT for extended warehouse management. What does it mean? What is the approach? What you take, what you don't take in terms of data and so on. And you will get a more detailed insight. So without any further ado, please let's start. Christian, I hand over to you. And if you can give us maybe a short introduction into EWM and why it should be relevant.
Yeah, thank you, Reik. So first of all, my name is Christian Beiling. As Reik already mentioned, I'm responsible for the EWM migrations within SAP, DM&LT, data management and landscape transformation. And yeah, let's have a closer look at the EWM solution in S4HANA. I guess you already have heard that EWM has left the old SCM basis and is now a product of S4HANA itself. And here we have different challenges on how to move forward. The S4HANA product is the future strategic platform. This means it will also be the strategic platform for the EWM application. And then in the decentralized EWM version of S4HANA, we have the strategical product. And the end of maintenance for the old SCM-based EWM solution will be end of December 2027. And before we will have a closer look how the SDT community can help you getting over to the new strategic platform to S4HANA, we will have a closer look to WM and the stockroom management versus the EWM. And therefore, I will hand over to Tichy.
Thank you, Christian. First, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Tichy. I've been working in the SAP world since 2009. So a long time ago, starting out mainly with the MM module and warehouse management. And over the time, I shifted my focus more and more towards to the extended warehouse management, especially from 2014 onwards, when I first got involved in EWM. And today I work as a technical project lead at Natuvion and supporting customers mainly in the industry and also automotive sector on that journey to the S/4HANA platform. And yeah, I'm passionate about helping companies streamline their logistic processes and make the world make the most of what SAP has to offer during this digital transformation. So yeah, Reik, can you switch to the next slide? Thank you. So the current situation that we now have is that the warehouse management on the old platform, on the ERP ECC platform, is not a strategic solution from the SAP. So, but there is a new solution called stockroom management. But the stockroom management is yeah, it's like it has just some core functionalities that are offered to the customers. So we have this offering from the SAP in S/4HANA, but compared to the old logistic execution warehouse management, we have just some reduced functionalities. So we have a lot of missing functionalities, like no value-added services, no cross-docking, no picking waves, no connection and communication with external warehouse management systems and so on. And this solution will be maybe only relevant for smaller warehouses and customers who have just small processes in the logistics. Yeah. So this is just a solution for customers who have basic warehouse management functionalities and will help the customers to switch over to the new S4 world. Can you slide to the next? And this is just a quick overview of functionalities that we have compared from the stockroom to the warehouse management to the basic EWM and to the advanced EWM. So the stockroom management and the warehouse management is included in your, but you have the warehouse management is still available in the compatibility mode, also a really hard word. and it's the offering from the SAP that you can use it till December this year. So it's also out of the maintenance. It's out of every. Yeah, it's a dead end. So there is nothing happened anymore. But also the stockroom management is not a strategic solution from the SAP, but it's a solution. Yeah, and compared to the functionalities, you can see, like I mentioned before, you have a lot of missing functions like cross-docking and also picking waves, material flow systems. You have no iDocs like VM-Tort, VM-Toko to other systems to communicate with your warehouse. And yeah, that's a rough overview about the missing functions compared stockroom to the warehouse management. On the other side, we have as a solution the EWM and the advanced EWM, and the advanced EWM have to be it's in an additional license package, and the basic EWM is included in your S4 package. But also the basic EWM has missing functionalities compared to the advanced EWM. So it's a little bit complicated, but you have to take care of your processes. You have to look into your business departure, what functionalities are really needed and what can be cut off. The next slide, please. So in this case, we have a couple of scenarios. Like, okay, you're coming from the old world SAP WM ERP system, and you want to move forward to the S4 world, and you have two options. Go to the, like mentioned, to the stockroom management with limited functionalities, no development. It's also not a strategically product from the SAP. And then you have the solution to go to an embedded EWM system with, so it's an embedded in your S4 system. So that's a EWM system with an embedded SAP system on top. So that's one system. There are some limitations, but I will talk about that later. And then you have the solution. You come from a decentralized SAP warehouse management system that's connected also to an ERP ECC system, and you want to move to the S4 world. You have a decentralized EWM system on HANA, and you have also the solution to go to the enterprise, to the cloud managed solution from the SAP, some decentralized EWM system. Yeah. But this scenario depends on the customer and the needs the customer have. Next slide. So
then we're already at the next point. How can the selective data transition help you in getting to the extended warehouse management? As Jan already told you, we have different deployment solutions for extended warehouse management. On the one hand side, we have the embedded version, and on the other hand, we have the decentralized version. If you're coming from an EWM solution, then in most cases, you will decide for a decentralized solution. And what does that mean for you? Then next slide, please. So the selective data transition within EWM, you have the brownfield, the system conversion, which you already know from maybe your ECC transformation to S/4HANA, or you have the greenfield transformation, which is basically a new implementation within S4. Unfortunately, the system conversion is not available in EWM. Why is this the case? That's simple to answer because in EWM, we are moving from the SCM basis to S/4HANA. This means it's moving to the standard, and here we have a different data model compared to the old SCM basis. That's mainly the reason why a system conversion is not possible in EWM. Most likely, you will start with a new implementation and start from scratch in S4. But there is also a solution available from the SDT, which helps you to reuse your old processes by using your transactional documents, for example, to move to S4. This is most likely the brownfield scenario, which you know from your ECC projects ongoing to S4. What does that mean exactly? Let's have a closer look at it in the next slide. So when we have on the left-hand side, the complete migration concept. This is most likely the brownfield conversion. Within the SDT community, we are able to bring all your data, your EWM system, to the new S/4HANA platform. And this means that most likely your system looks like the same, at least for your warehouse workers. They will log off on a on a Friday afternoon, and they will log on a Monday morning, and they even won't realize that there has been a change in the technique. This is more a database migration, which has the advantage that the migration is fast without any interruption. And we are bringing all warehouses and data at once. Some customers always call it a big bang approach. It's more a complete migration concept. On the other hand, on the right-hand side, we have this greenfield approach. This means that you do your migration at your own pace. This means you can do a selective warehouse migration by using the SAP migration cockpit. When we have a closer look at the next slide. And you can see that we have several migration objects available for the migration cockpit. Here, you can use the tool to migrate your data from EWM, for example, 9.5, 9.4, 9.6 to EWM on S/4HANA. The problem is that transactional data is not foreseen for the usage of the migration cockpit. All the other things like the cross-client customizing, the users and authorization, this has to be brought over to S/4HANA at your own. You have to take care of that. So if you're able to migrate your system on your own, then you can use the migration cockpit. But what happens, for example, if you have transactional data available, which you can't close in the old world, in the EWM world, or you have, for example, some legal requirements in which you have to take over all your data from the old world to the new S/4HANA system. This is more the complete migration approach, which takes over all your data. You can see that in the next slide. Yeah, we have all your data, master data and transactional data, and this will be brought over with this database migration, which is part of the SDT solutions. And here we bring over all your data to the new S/4HANA. And yeah, this is most likely the case when you bring over all your data from EWM 9.5 to S4. As I already mentioned, when the users, they log off on a Friday afternoon, and they will log on the Monday morning again, and they won't realize that we have a change in the technology behind. And this is, yeah, the solution, what we can offer to the EWM migration. Speaking of EWM migration, the same applies also for the transportation management. But today we're focusing on EWM, but you have to keep in mind that this is also possible in transportation management. Yeah. Okay. So do you have a question regarding this migration concept?
I think the question we will do after the session, Christian, so we can.
I can
Okay.
say a little bit. It's not like it's not black and white. So you can see that in the slides from Christian that the truth is sometimes in the middle. So you have to It's not easy because you have logistic is very special. You have different processes, you have complex and different also storage structures and so on. So it's not easy to say what you can left behind and what you need also on maybe to some special needs like, okay, you have to store the data you have to store data for 10 years and so on. So it's difficult to say what kind of transactional data you can leave back or not. So that's a big challenge for the most of the customers to decide what to leave back and what I should maybe restructure, what should I refactor and so on in my new EWM system on HANA.
Thank you, Jan and Christian. So I think we have now a good overview of, you started with what is the future of EWM, right? Where is SAP moving? What are the different deployment options? Jan, you showed us a little bit what are the functional difference between stockroom management, warehouse management, extended warehouse management, and Christian, you explained the EWM specific SDT approach, right? But if you look into maybe some of your experience, right? I think that's something that the people really would like to hear. From your experience, when you go or before you go into EWM transition projects, what are maybe the 2-3 key topics or challenges that you want customers or partners to be aware of or to think about before we actually enter the project? So yeah, what
Yeah.
to be in the mind? What do they need to decide on before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good question, Reik. Thanks for that. And the answer is quite simple. And it's always the same when we have a closer look at the past projects. The pain point which customers are facing within the EWM transformation are basically two things. One is the custom code. This means that we are leaving the SCM basis, we are going to standard. And a pain point is always for customers to bring their code, their repository objects to S4. This needs also be to adapt it, and you have to consider that this needs to be done. But there are also some specialized service available, which are called the custom code impact analysis, which can help you to bring over all your repository objects to S4. The next challenge, which customers are always facing, is the closing of the old documents. So a prerequisite to get to S4 is that you close all open documents in your EWM world. If you're not able to, maybe you're using quality inspection documents or whatever, they last for a long time and maybe you can't close them, then maybe the selective data transition is also an option for you, which can help you to bring over your data. The SDT approach does not take care if a document is opened or closed. We bring it over, and then you can close it in the new world whenever it's needed. Yeah, these are basically the two challenges which customers are facing on their journey to S4 with the EWM. And yeah, it's not the problem if you are deciding to go to EWM in an embedded version in S4 or decentralized version. The challenges are they're most likely the same. Yeah.
I go completely along with that. A lot of customers have a lot of custom code in the EWM system, so that's it's by design, because you have a lot of special warehouse hardware, you have a lot of special warehouse structures and so on, and you have to be and you want to be fast, and that's the good and the bad in the EWM. So From our perspective, what we have, because we have more the view to the amount of the data at Natuvion, we are always talking about with the customers about what is about to archiving and so on. So we have a lot of systems that have never been seen archiving, and that's also a good point to start to have a clearer, or that the amount of data is smaller, and we can start with a better basis for the migration. On the other side, if you need all the data, okay, but you have to be aware that the HANA database is really, it's also expensive, the growth of the database and so on. And it's a good point, and it's a good discussion to start with the question, what is about archiving in your system, in your old system.
Okay. Super, thank you. So I have a custom code, how to deal with old documents, and do I need to archive or not, right? As a 3 key. That's super precise. Thank you. To the audience, quick, we are now kind of moving into the Q&A session. So please feel free to raise your questions, your comments. You can post it in the chat directly, or you raise your hand and you can ask us directly. So please don't be shy, right? I think we all benefit from a conversation here. But one more question, which of course obviously typically comes up, and yeah, the consultant answer I know is always depends, right, on the complexity, but about duration. So what is when we look at a EWM project, maybe only on a pure EWM project without an ECC S4 transition, right? Because then EWM would also depend on the rest of the project. But if you would look only from an EWM transition project, what is your what is the typical duration? Is it similar to ECC S4? Is it less? Is it more? Yeah, maybe you could say a little bit about that.
Also a good question, Reik. Yeah, thanks for that. And as you already mentioned, it depends. But let's say from a real life example, last year customer came to us and he was running his transformation from EWM 9.5 to S4. And then during the project, he realized that he was not able to close all open documents. And this gave us the advantage to show our complete migration concept on how we can move forward. And the advantage of this project was that the customer already did his custom code changes to S4. So meaning he was able to transfer the master data to S4. He changed his custom code to S4. And then we jumped into the project. And the overall project runtime was then very short. This means that we had an overall project runtime of 9 months. On the other hand, another example, here we started from scratch. So we supported the customers in almost every belonging in master data transfer, custom code changes, and so on. And the project execution was more or less 2 years. So therefore, it depends is quite a valid answer. And yeah, the question is, how much time did you already spend in your transformation of EWM to S4?
Yeah, it depends. It's not you cannot get an easy answer. How long will it take? It depends really on how much custom code you have, how big the warehouse system and also the hardware. So the whole complex, the whole warehouse complex with cross-docking and so on. And it really depends. And please don't ask me about how much will it cost.
Yeah. But okay, but then maybe ask this question: what is your shortest? Yeah, let's put it this way: what's your shortest duration for an EWM SDT transition?
I think 9 months is a valid answer to that. Yeah, if everything is prepared, yeah, I would really say, okay, 9 months is the way to go. I think shorter is not possible, but yeah.
Yeah, you have a big technical change, so I think that's the main obstacle you have, moving from the it's like an APO system, SCVM system, and you have to move to the complete, like I say, it's normalized databases and normalized structure that we have now, and that's the biggest change. I mean, from the functionalities, it's like, I think Christian was talking about, like you have the migration and the people in the warehouse did not recognize that. So in the best case, yeah. So it's not like you are moving from an old R3 system with no Fiori, and you have like 50%, 80% now just Fiori-based applications, and you have to change completely the way you are working in the EWM. It's still you have changes like, okay, you have Fiori apps and so on, but changes are more under the hood.
Okay. Good.
What also needs to be considered is that when you decide for a greenfield approach, this means you will bring over your data, your stocks to S4 by using the migration cockpit. Here you have several downtimes. This means whenever you're concentrating or migrating a new warehouse, you need a new downtime in your environment. And when you decide for this new complete migration approach, which we presented to you in this session, then you just need only one downtime. That's why we always call it also a Big Bang approach, a complete migration approach. This is also this needs to be considered in your transformation. And then usually the next question from customers are you able to meet my downtime requirements? And that's also very difficult to answer, but in the past we did it. So we had no problems with huge databases. And here we have let's say tools that can help us by transferring the data really, really fast. And we also do some performance optimization during the project and so on. So don't be afraid of huge databases and the sizing of the database. That's not a problem, I would say.
Yeah, we have a lot of toolings, and like Christian said, we can also, I don't know, because we have also our own tool, but we have some functions to preload the data and then later to do just the delta migration and so on. So we are aware of the needs from the customer, I don't want to say the word, but near zero downtime. It's can be challenging, but it depends. Yeah.
Good, super, thank you. I just realized there are actually quite some questions in the Q&A chat. I just checked in the normal chat, that's why I didn't see a Q&A. So let me read out some of these questions from the Q&A part, right? Not about the transition, but about the upfront decision. If we should go with S4 EWM embedded in our S4 ECC system or as a decentralized system on S4. Is there a guideline with some concrete examples? For example, I only found information like decentralized is recommended for high volume, but nowhere what a high volume is. We are in progress of deciding the future of our current EWM 9.5 decentralized system. So yeah, is there some sort of clear guideline when to go for yeah, embedded or decentralized?
Yeah, it's also a valid question. And there's there can't be a clear answer for this question, as it depends also on your, yeah, let's say database and settings. But there is a service available which can tell you what's the best solution for you. But when we have a closer look, I think 90 to 95% of all the customers, they decide to go to a decentralized EWM solution on S/4HANA. Why is that? Because then you're on the strategic platform, and it's, let's say, from a data volume perspective, more future-proof. That's, yeah, what most customers do, and yeah.
I will go with Christian. It depends. There is no easy answer. I mean, you can take, so you can just put another NetWeaver on top. You can put the next NetWeaver on top, and so on. But you have to be aware that you have only one database. So you don't want to have trouble in your warehouse, and mostly in the communication to the hardware, to the warehouse hardware. If something gets crazy or wrong in your ERP system, like somebody is starting some special runs, or you have like extractors and so on that are heavily loading your ERP system, where is your EWM embedded? So in this case, you will get in trouble. And that's the reason why most of the customers, like Christian said, 90%, 95% decided to go to the decentralized EWM system. It's, yeah, you don't want to have the trouble in your warehouse. I mean, if you have a small warehouse where you have like asynchronous communication, go for it. But if you are really needed to have a synchronous communication with answer time like in milliseconds and so on, you have a lot of SPS communication, other push channels and so on. It's not a good solution to have an embedded EWM, because you have too much users on the system, and you have no idea. You never know what can happen. Murphy's Law, everything can happen, and you don't want to have this trouble in your EWM system.
And we have a question regarding the complete migration concept, if it includes the custom code. Custom code itself, not. That's repository. It's more about the custom data stored in your own namespaces and set tables, for example. This will be brought over by using the SDT complete migration concept. That's not a problem. That will be considered, sure. Yeah.
Yes. Good, thank you. There's also another very interesting question. I'm curious about if you can answer this. About the decentralized option, my understanding was that it was recommended to run EWM near the plant for lower latency. But if this gets moved to the cloud version, what's the potential impact in terms of performance due to higher latency from moving to cloud?
That's also a fair question, which can't be answered in general. So we did it once, and the latency was absolutely not an issue in terms of moving the data to the cloud. That was not a problem at all. Yeah. But it depends. Don't know about the connection that is available and so on. In this case, it was not a problem, but it can be a problem, I guess. But yeah, we don't know, to be honest.
We had a discussion with a customer about that. and it's not a you have, in this case you have different discussions. The more discussions are like, okay, what happened, like my internet connection get switched off and so on. So the infrastructure guys starting to talk with, okay, we need like Starlink and so on as a fallback. So that's maybe some of the scenarios and discussions you have in this case, but also we talked to the infrastructure guys and also to the cloud guys. The performance and the, let's say, ping should not be a problem. But it depends. It depends on your processes, on the size of your warehouse, and so on. Yeah.
Two more questions. So next one would be, is it also possible to move from a decentral EWM 9.5, for example, to an embedded EWM on S4?
No answer, yes, no problem. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the last question, in the SDT to migrate EWM in is the SDT available to migrate to EWM in S/4HANA Cloud? I think we might need to differentiate between which cloud, right? We have a private and public cloud. So for the private cloud, yes, of course, that's possible on any hyperscaler as you please. But for public cloud, that is not the version right now. As for SDT, for the SDT approach.
Yes, yeah. That does not fit into the SDT approach, yeah, because we are limited. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Correct, yeah.
And I see there's another follow-up just came in. Follow-up to the decision for embedded or decentralized. You said there's a service to support. Where can I find this one?
Yeah, it's about the database sizer, and you should get in contact with your service account manager. He can help you by deciding you the right approach and the right service for this type of decision. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. One question I answered in the chat was about the tool cost charge. I cannot answer for the other companies. I can personally answer for SAP side. There is a small tool cost charge that we typically have. But in the overall project, it's yeah, as I said, a rather small one. Each company in the SDT community has their own set of tools with similar functionalities, but therefore also the cost model may differ, vary, and then, as you know, typically it also depends a little bit on how the project is set up and how it's negotiated. But I can only speak in this case for SAP, and we have a small tool cost charge.
I saw there's also a very interesting question in the chat. If we are able to do a system consolidation of two EWM 9.5 systems, there's currently a proof of concept ongoing. So I guess no one ever did it before. We're pretty sure that SDT can handle that, but there is yeah, let's say in April 2025, we can't tell you if it's possible. We're pretty sure that we can manage that, but yeah, we're currently in a proof of concept phase, and this is going to be available very soon. So.
Yeah. We have similar requests, but not especially for EWM, but on ERP systems where companies have 2, 3, 4 ECC systems, and they want to consolidate them into one or maybe 2 systems, depends on the size and the structure and the processes. And that's I would not say that's our main business, but we have a lot of requests in this kind of needs. Yeah. I think it depends also on, okay, how big are the changes in the EW system, custom code. Yeah, that can be a problem. Set tables and so on in the EW system, because in the most of the time these two systems are not going like that, but sometimes like they're completely running in different directions, and you have to consolidate that. So that's not so easy, but with our tool it's possible. But yeah, it depends also the runtime, and the runtime of project can be completely different. Yeah. But that's a good question. Yeah. So if you're a bigger company, you have sometimes the need that you have two EWM systems running, and also more if you have over N companies and so on with different warehouses. Yeah. And then a good solution can be the cloud, because it runs somewhere in the cloud, and it doesn't matter if you have your warehouse, let's say in Munich or in London. It's possible. Yeah.
Okay, super. Thank you so much. I think we're reaching the end of the session. I give it maybe 1 more minute to see if any additional follow-up question is coming in. But the ones that have been posted, we've been through them now, which is great. So maybe give it some more seconds before we close the session. Alrighty. Yeah, then I'd like to say thank you to everybody who participated, who joined, who may watch it afterwards, after the recording. The interest, if you want to have more information, just Google us, SDTE partner community, and you will find our landing page on sapsupport.com. And there you'll find all these, you can find the recordings of these sessions, also the previous session that we have. You find more information on SDT itself, and also plenty of FAQs to read more into those topics. So please Google SDTE partner community, and you will find it on our homepage. And with that, I think we can conclude today's sessions. Krena, I give back to you. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Reik, Christian, and Jan, for that very insightful session. We will continue next week, where we talk about the SAP Business Data Data Cloud Platform. Please, and I would be very happy to see you all also next week. Let me just stop the recording.